Hi, today we're going to look at National 5 volume and it's non-calculator work today. So no cheating, calculators away. Okay, when we do questions like these two here, they both have multiply in them. They both only got multiply in them. Now, when you're doing multiplying, it doesn't matter what order you do your multiply in. So if you think back to primary school, 2 times 4, hopefully you know that 2 times 4 has the same answer as 4 times 2. So it doesn't matter which way around we do a multiplication. Okay, so let's look at the first question then. It says 4 times an eighth times a 16th. So, I don't have to do it in that order. So what order could I change it to? Okay, so you can see I've changed it to an eighth times 16 times 4. That is because an eighth times 16 is the same as an eighth of 16. Okay, so when I work this out, an eighth of 16, right, that's much easier than trying to do an eighth of 4. Although an eighth of 4 is not like totally impossible, it's not really hard, I'm trying to make this as easy for myself as possible. This is why some people are really good at maths, because they can look at something and go, I know how to make this easier. So hopefully you know that if you're finding an eighth of 16, that is the same as 16 shared by 8, 16 divided by 8. So here we go, I've made it much easier. 16 divided by 8, of course, makes 2, and I've still got to multiply that by 4, so we get the answer 8. Okay. Right, the next one, it says 6 times a quarter times 68. Okay, so at this point here, I'm thinking, which one of those two numbers can I take a quarter of? Okay, so what can I take a quarter of easily? Now, taking a quarter of 6, 6 isn't in the 4 times table, but I'm wondering if 68 is in the 4 times table, okay? So that's the first thing I'm going to look at. Now, I like to do my divides like this. You might already know what the answer is. Alright, that's fine, but I have to do it like this to show people who need to do a wee sum, right? No rush, we're here to get full marks, so as many marks as we can possibly get, so I have to show a method for everybody. Okay, how many 4s are in 6? 1. 1 times 4 is 4, so there's 2 left over. How many 4s are in 28? There's 7. So I can see that 4 does go into the 68. So that's helped me to decide which way to do my sum now. Okay, so I've reordered my multiplication there. I've changed it to a quarter times 68 times 6. And remember, that means the same as a quarter of 68. Now we've just worked out the answer to a quarter of 68. We just worked that out to be 17. And we still need to multiply that by 6. So I'll do a wee sum at the side. Okay, so I'm starting my wee sum there. 6 times 7, 42. 6 times 1, 6. Add the 4 is 10. Okay, so I know it's 102. Now another way that you might do that, you might split your 17 times 6 into 10 times 6 and 7 times 6, partitioning. 10 times 6 is 60. 7 times 6 is 42. Add them together and you get your 102. Okay. Okay, so I just want to show you a couple of questions. This is preparing for finding your volume, okay? Now, you might notice that this first formula here, 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times h, this is the volume of a cone. Okay, so this first question here is preparing you to find the volume of a cone without a calculator. So, looking at this question here, I can see everything's been multiplied, okay? But for this one, there's a little bit more to think about because we have this squared symbol up here, okay? We don't have brackets. O is for orders, okay? That squared is an order. Your teacher might call it an index as well. You might use BIDMAS with your teacher. Okay, so 2 is an order, or your teacher might call it an index, okay? But that's the bit that we need to work out first. We need to work out the answer to 3 squared first. 3.14 times 3 squared is 9. 3 times 3. And then times it by the 6. Okay, so you can see now we've got all these multipliers left. Okay, so I can choose what order to do it in. Okay, so the bit that annoys us the most here is the third. Okay, fractions, that's the bits we like to make disappear first. A third of 3.14, no, right? 3.14 is not in the 3 times table, so please don't do that. A third of 9, I could do that first. A third of 6, so I've got a choice, okay? But I came across the 9 first, so I'll just deal with that. A third of 9 is 3. So I'll do it like that. Okay, I'm just going to tidy up a wee bit. Don't need BODMAS there anymore because everything's just multiplying, isn't it? Eh? Right, so down to the multiplying stage. It doesn't matter what order we do it in. A lot of people change this one into 3.14 times 18, but they're quite often find people are not very successful at multiplying a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number. So I try and avoid it where possible because I just know that that's where I see most people make mistakes. So it just tells me that maybe I could be making mistakes here as well. So let's not try that unless I really, really have to. Okay. So 3 4s make 12, 3 1s make 3, add a 1 makes 4, 3 3s make 9. So the answer to this bit here is 9.42, and I still need to multiply that by 6. Okay, so 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 4, 24, add the 1, 25, 6 times 9 is 54, add the 2 is 56. Okay. Right, so that's that first one done. So you can see there's a lot of thinking, a lot of working out. That's National 5, okay? And I'm using a lot of the primary school skills, okay? Right, but you have to show that you still remember them, you see, and that's the thing. And we find that a lot of people think that they don't have to do their primary school stuff, so they'd rather leave it blank, right? Don't be one of those people. So, next one. Right, again, according to BODMAS, right, you've got to work out the 2 squared first. Oops, wrong pen. Get the right one out. That's better. Okay, so 2 squared is 4. Right, now we're left with all multiplies now. So this is where we get down and have a look at the third. Don't do a third of 3.14. A third of 4. 4's not in the 3 times table. A third of 33. Right, get on and do that. A third of 33 is the same as 33 divided by 3, that's 11. Okay, all right. We just need to pick. Now, what would you like to do? I'm going to do 3.14 times 4. That one comes up quite a few times, actually. 3.14 times 4 is the same as 3.14 doubled and doubled again. Right? Hopefully that's something a teacher showed you before, that when you multiply by 4 you can just double and double again. So if I double, I get 6.28. I need to double again. Double 6 is 12, and that's what we get when we double all that. Okay, so 11 times 12.56. Okay, that's one way to multiply by 4, but of course I'll show you 3.14 times 4. You can just do it the old-fashioned way. You don't have to use my method. You just use the one you're comfortable with. 4 4s make 16. 4 1s make 4, add the 1. 4 3s make 12. I quite often like doing it 2 different ways because it gives me a chance to see if I made a mistake somewhere. Right, okay, so I'll rub that one out too. Okay, last bit here, 11 times 12.56, that's the same as doing 10 times 12.56 and 1 times 12.56. So if I multiply it by 10, move all the digits across one place, Okay, and multiply by 1. Oh, that doesn't change anything. So it stays as 12.56. Now, again, look at what I've done when I've set this out. I've got my hundreds. There were no hundreds underneath. Tens with the tens, units with the units, tenths with the tenths, hundredths. All right, to make this a little bit nicer looking, I'll just pop a 0 in there. I'm going to add these. Okay, again, decimal place, decimal place, decimal place, everything lined up together so that it makes it easier to get it right. And that's me done with that one there. Okay. Next slide, you're going to do some questions. So what I want you to do just now is I want you to pause the video whilst you work out the answer to each of those sums. Okay, so these are your answers for the last slide. You hopefully noticed that as you went through those, the last three are starting to look a bit more like volume questions, okay? You will, or could, be asked to do volume with your 3.14, right? And you have to crack on and try your best with these, okay? Now, I will go over the answers in the next few slides. You can fast forward through it to the ones that you need more help with, okay? Okay, so for this one here, working out a quarter of 3 would be a bit tricky. I don't need to do that, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to think more about doing a quarter of 84. Okay, so I'm thinking in my head, what's a quarter of 80? That's 20. A quarter of 80 is 20. A quarter of the 4 is 1. So a quarter of 84 is 21. And I'm still multiply that by the 3. Okay, so the way that I chose to start this one off was I chose to do a quarter of 84 to start this one off, okay? So 21 times 3, 63 for that first one there, okay? So again, looking at the next one, a quarter of 6. 6 isn't in the 4 times table, so I don't need to be trying to work that one out. Okay, so what about doing a quarter of 100? Yes, I know that one. Okay, I know that a quarter of 100 is 25, and I still need to multiply it by 6. Okay, if you don't know what a quarter of 100 is, you would do one of these wee sums. A quarter, how many 4s are in 10? 2 with 2 left over. How many 4s are in 20? There would be 5. Okay, so that's where the 25 comes from. 25 times 6, I know that's 150. Okay, I know that because 25 times 4 is 100. But I need 2 more. 25 times 2 makes 50. So I know it makes 150 altogether. Okay, that's how I did it. You maybe did something like 25 times 6. Right, you'll have different ways of doing it. Maybe you would do 20 times 6 and 5 times 6 and work it out that way. Okay, so that's those different methods filled in for you there. Okay, right, next slide, I'll go over the next 2 questions. Okay, so these ones are in a slightly different order. Right, hold on a minute. If I go back to the last slide, I think these 2 questions look rather similar to the last 2. I've just copied across the questions from the last slide. So I have noticed that these 2 questions, we've got a quarter in this one and a quarter in that one. We have got 3 in this one and 3 in this one. It's the same numbers, but in a different order. So that means that this one is still going to be 63. So if I just rub some of this out, tidy it up, there we go. Same as the last one, I would actually work out a quarter of 84 first. Okay, rather than working out a quarter of 3. So 1 quarter of 84 gives me the 21, and then I'd multiply by the 3 to get the 63. Now if you look at the second question, it's the same thing that's going on here. We've got a quarter and a quarter. It's the same numbers in a different order. We've got the 6 and the 6 and the 100 and the 100. Okay, so same as last time, you're going to get an answer of 150 for this one, because we're going to do a quarter of 100 first, because finding a quarter of 6 is a little bit annoying. Okay, so a quarter of 100 is 25, and we'd multiply by 6, right? But really, you wouldn't have had to work anything out, because you've already got them from the first two questions. Okay, so next two, we've got a third. One of your formulas for volume's got a third in it. So a third of 36 times 9. Okay, so can we work out a third of 36? We can, right? So you could work out a third of 36. It's not your only option. You could, it doesn't matter which way you do it, you could work out a third of 9. Okay, I'm going to stick with the first one, not for any particular reason. I'm going to do a third of 36, because I know that makes 12, and then I still need to multiply it by 9. Now, I know my 12 times table, but if you don't, this is one way you could work it out. Think about 10 times 9 and 2 times 9, and add them together. So this one is 108. Okay, right, next one. A third of 36, because I don't know what a third of 8 is, right? 8's not in the 3 times table. So I'm going to do a third of 36. Oh, I did that before, didn't I? A third of 36. 36 shared by 3 is 12. 12 times 8, again. I know my 12 times table, but if you don't, it's not a big problem. Okay, 10 times 8 is 80. 2 times 8 is 16. Add them together for 96. Okay. I think I'm going to do the first one again. I'm going to do it in that different order. Okay, try and rub it out. Here we go. So just in case you had done it the other way, I'm going to do a third of 9 first. So a third of 9, how many 3s are in 9? 9 shared by 3 is 3, and then times it by the 36. So think about 3 times 30 and 3 times 6. Okay, so it should still give us 108. So 3 times 3 is 9, so 3 times 30 is 90, 3 times 6 is 18, add them together, 108. Okay, and that's those two done. Right, last two. Oh, last three. Okay, now these are the ones that are getting towards the skills that you need for doing your non-calculator volume. Okay, so let's take this easy. We have got 4/3 times 3.14. Now 4/3, which formula does this look like? This looks like your sphere formula. Your sphere formula is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. So this one's building you up to be able to find the volume of a sphere, this one here, okay? So we've got 4/3 times 3.14. Now that's too hard, okay? I don't want to be trying to find 3.14 divided by 3. No, not happening, okay? What about finding 4/3 of 3 cubed? Now, that would be more sensible to do this one. 4/3 of 3 cubed. So what I'm actually going to think about first is BODMAS. Okay, or BIDMAS. Okay, B for brackets, there are no brackets. Okay, O is for orders or indices. Right, we do have those. This little 3 that's flying in the sky is an order, or it's also known as an index, okay? So we need to work out what 3 cubed is, right? 3 cubed. Now that means I've got to take 3, I've got to have 3 3's being multiplied together. Okay, 3 3's make 9, and times it by 3 makes 27. Okay, so if we go back to our sum, over on the left hand side, we're going to work out 4/3 times 3.14 times 27. Okay, now like I said, we are not going to do 4/3 of 3.14. Okay, we're going to go for the 4/3 of 27. Now when you find a third of something, you're dividing. Okay, so I'm going to do that divide bit next. Okay, do the divide bit. So what is 27 shared by 3? Right, so that's the bit that I'm going to go for first. What is 27 shared by 3? Now that makes 9. Okay, and I still need to multiply by 4 and multiply by 3.14. Right, now that 3.14 is filling me with dread. Not because I can't do it, but because I know from marking your work that that's the bit that we don't do so well. Okay, so we are left with multiplying now. Okay, so we look at our BODMAS, we're down to the multiplying stage. Down to multiplying there. And it doesn't matter what order you do it in. Okay, I'm just going to have a bit of a tidy up. Okay, just give myself a wee bit more room there. Okay, so what order will I do this in? Again, there's different ways you can do it. I'm going to do the 3.14 times the 4. Okay, it's because I know that what happens is a lot of people try to work out 9 times 4 is 36, and then when they do 36 times 3.14, they just find it too hard, okay? A lot of people really struggle when they're multiplying a 2-digit number by something that's a little bit longer, okay? So I'm just going to do it with 3.14 times the 4, like this. Okay, 4 4's make 16, 4 1's make 4, add the 1 is 5, 4 3's make 12. So I've still got to do 9 times 12.56. Okay, another way to work this out is actually to double it and then double it again. Okay, that's another way to multiply by 4, is to double and double. So I'd get 6.28, which I still need to double, and then 12.56 comes from there. Okay, so a couple of ways to get that 12.56. Okay, now I'm going to tidy up again, so pause it if you need to have a wee look at that for a bit longer. Okay, so I just made myself some room so that I can work out my 12.56 times my 9. Okay, so 9 6's are 54, 9 5's are 45, add the 5. 9 2's are 18, add the 5's 23, 9 1's are 9, add the 2 is 11. Okay, so that's our first one done there. So the thing that's actually a little bit different about this one that you've got to watch out for is that in the other slides I haven't really spoken about BODMAS yet. So we're having to work out, is it going to come up? There we go. We need to work out the 3 cubed before we do any of the rest of it. Okay, so in this next one here, if we look across, according to BODMAS, you have to do this order or this index before you do any of the rest of it. Okay, and then the same with this one here, you need to be working out this order or index before you work out any of the rest of it. Okay, so that's what makes these a little bit trickier. These are the questions where people will start petitions to say that these questions should have been on the calculator paper. Please don't do that. Okay, because I am showing you that you can do these without a calculator, so please don't get involved in any petitions that start around your exam time, okay? So like I said, according to BODMAS, we need to work this bit out first. So 2 squared is 4, and then we got times 18. So these ones just take a wee while longer to work out. Now, this one here, actually, you know, like we're trying to build up towards doing a volume. So which formula is this one similar to? 1/3 times pi times radius squared times the height. It's the cone, right? This is the formula for a cone, this one. You don't have to remember these, you get them on your formula sheet. I'm just showing you why you've got these questions, because we're building these two up to be able to find the volume of a cone. Okay, so I spy a fraction. I would like that fraction to go away, please. So how can I make this fraction go away? 1/3. What can I find 1/3 of? 1/3 of 3.14? No, absolutely not. 1/3 of 4? No, 4 is not in the 3 times table. 1/3 of 18. Yes, I can do that. 1/3 of 18. 18 divided by 3. That makes 6. Okay, now my sum that I'm left with here, it only has multiplies in it. Okay, it only has multiplies. Now, from the last question, I've got the answer to 3.14 times 4. Right, we did that last time as well. It was 12.56, so to save myself from doing lots and lots of extra work, I'm going to copy that in from the last question. Okay, again, see how maths people make things easier for themselves, look for things you've already done before. So we don't have 12.56 times 6 though, do we? We did 9 last time. So times it by 6, 6 times 6 is 36, 6 times 5 is 30, 30 add the 3, 6 times 2 is 12, 12 add 3 is 15, and 6 times 1 is 6, add the 1 is 7. Okay, and that's that one done there. Alright, one last one. Again, according to BODMAS, we don't have brackets, so BODMAS, we have orders there. 4 squared, that's going to make 16. So I work with 1/3 times 3.14 times, that's going to be a 16. And then times it by 9. Okay, so we're at the point here, they're all multiplies, do it in any order you want. Okay, so let's have a think again. 1/3 of 3.14, nope, not doing it. 1/3 of 16, nope, because 16 is not in the 3 times table, but 9 is. Okay, so remember, 1/3 times 9 is the same as 1/3 of 9. 1/3 of 9 means 9 divided by 3. 9 shared by 3 is 3. Oops, wrong pen. 3 times 3.14 times the 16. Okay. Oh, what order am I going to do this in? Right. I think I'll do the 3.14 times the 3. Might need a bit more space for this one. Steal a bit of line back. Okay, welcome to Nat 5. We just need to get on and work this out. I'm going to start with 3 times 3.14. Remember, you don't have to do it in this order. If you want to do it in a different order, go ahead. It's all right, as long as you get the same answer. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus the 1 is 4. 3 3s make 9. 9.42 times 16. Okay, so this is the bit that's going to be a little bit annoying. Okay, so we need to do 9.42 times 16. Now I'm going to think about 9.42 times 10 and 9.42 times by 6. Okay, so 9.42 times 10, move each digit across 1. And then 9.42 times 6, I think I'd rather do that round this way. Okay, so see, I just keep adapting to the way that I want to do it. Okay, just depending on the way that I see the question. 6 times 2 makes 12. 6 times 4 is 24, add the 1, 25. 5 times 9 is 54, add the 2 is 56. So 56.52. I'm just going to pop a 0 in there, so they both got 2 decimal places. Now notice what I've done here. I've got the dots lined up together. I've automatically lined up my units. I've automatically lined up my tens, my tenths, and my hundredths. Okay, so I can add these together. Okay, so that gives me my final answer that I can just pop back over here, 150.72.